Am I the asshole for refusing to support my niece's lifestyle? My sister and her husband were sent to prison at the start of this year, and sadly won't be released for a few years. That left me to look after their 15-year-old daughter Amy. I was perfectly happy to do this, but as most of their wealth was seized for being ill-gotten, it's meant that I've been having to care for her out of my own pocket. Once again, this doesn't bother me, but it's meant massive life changes for the kid. Firstly, they sent her to a private school. I can't afford anywhere near those fees, so I had to transfer her to a local school. She was upset at this at first, but she quickly made friends and is excelling academically, so this isn't a huge problem. She's been off school for the last few months anyway due to the situation. A bigger problem is clothing. Like my sister, Amy loves fashion and designer stuff. She's still got a lot of stuff that her parents got her, but she's always on the lookout for new clothes. Unfortunately, I can't afford anywhere near the sort of stuff she likes, and I also have 2 children of my own whose clothing I have to pay for. I have told my sister this, but she insists I should make allowances, because her daughter is going through a tough time. Amy also really doesn't get along with my daughter Hannah, who is 11. She bullies her, calls her stupid and ugly, tells her none of her friends really like her, etc. She has made her cry on many occasions and often continues to taunt Hannah while she cries. Yesterday I caught Amy trying to buy a dress costing over $1,000 with my card. I was fuming and had a long conversation with her. She cried, and sobbed that she just wanted one nice thing. My sister called from the prison, and Amy cried over the phone that she hates here and I treat her unfairly. I spoke to my sister afterwards and she begged me to go easy on her daughter because she's still adjusting. I put food on this kid's plate. I buy her whatever clothes I can afford, even if they aren't to her taste. I take her to visit her parents as much as possible. They're held in different facilities, and I do all of that on top of working and looking after my own children. I told my sister that I was willing to look after her daughter for as long as she needs, but if anything like the card incident happens again, or if she continues to pick on my daughter, there will be serious consequences for her. My sister wanted to argue, but they get limited time on the prison phone. I think what I'm doing is right. I get that the kid is going through a tough time, and I'm doing everything I can to be there for her. But I can't just tolerate bad behavior or bullying, and I can't afford to pay for her expensive clothing. The fact that she's struggling to deal with what happened to her parents doesn't change that. Not the asshole, obviously. But how are you supporting this child's transition? Is she in therapy yet? Am I harsh? Sit this kid down, 15 yo FFS, and give her a few home truths. Her previous lifestyle was funded by the criminal proceeds of her criminal parents, who because of their crimes are now banged up. Now either get a bit of character and learn to adapt with grace to your new circumstances and budget, or go into care. She's already showing criminal tendencies by taking your card without your consent. Her choice. You are the asshole for letting this Veruca Salt continue to abuse your kids, doing untold damage to your previously happy kids and making them feel unsafe in their own home. Not the asshole is your niece in therapy? Not the asshole. I know you said that money is kind of tight, but you need to shell out for one more expense, therapy for Amy. Maybe you can get someone to see her on a sliding scale proportionate to your income. She's bullying your daughter because she feels powerless, and a younger child is the one person she can have power over. You're a great aunt-uncle for going the distance. A lot of people would have let Amy end up in foster care and not have thought twice about it. But, you have to get that girl professional help. As for your sister, her irresponsible behind doesn't get a vote on anything after what she's done. So, she can stop whining to you about going easy on Amy. By the way, number 15-year-old needs a $1,000 dress, and you can tell her that I said so. A $1,000 dress is not a nice thing, it's a crazy caprice. 15-yo is old enough to understand that she was spoiled with ill-acquired money, that this was illegal and can't go on. You are doing the right thing by saying no. The problem is how to force her change, and most of all, to stop her from bullying your kids. I really don't know what you should do. Is there some specialized educator you could get in touch with? Not the asshole. You are putting up your best effort. Amy is going through a lot, that doesn't excuse her misbehavior. You are an adult, and taking care of her, for free, even though you are not required to. You could have said no. She shouldn't get away with trying to use or card or bullying your daughter. Bullying is not forgivable. If Amy wants expensive stuff, tell her to get a job. She is 15, she can do part-time and spend her own money on designer clothes. And if your sister keeps asking you to go easy on her, tell her to earn money herself, and send it to her daughter for spending. I am really proud of you for taking Amy into your care and giving her a good life. Not the asshole. Her parents definitely spoiled her. She needs to be educated on how not every household can afford to live a luxurious lifestyle like she did, and should be grateful for the basic needs: food on the table, roof over her head, a warm bed to sleep in, running water, etc. Question: what would happen if she did that incident again? Would she live with her other relatives or be kicked out to learn the hard way? Not the asshole. You are obviously NTA. Just because she's your niece doesn't mean you need to ruin the relationship with your children and financially sacrifice yourself for the princess. She needs therapy because she's used to a lifestyle that was gained from money that didn't belong to her parents in the first place. I'm going to presume laundering or tax fraud. I wouldn't even call you the TA if you informed social you couldn't cope with looking after her. It's only going to do more damage to struggle and fail than get the right support now. Not the asshole. So not the asshole. OMG. Your niece Amy needs a reality check. This bratty behavior needs to stop. She also should be punished for such behavior: bullying your daughter, using your card to pay for expensive shit without your permission. Have you considered counseling, op? Not the asshole. She doesn't realize it now, but you're probably the best thing for that child. Teach her some morals, about how money needs to be earned, about how to be a decent person. She clearly wasn't getting that because she sounds nasty and entitled. Amy also really doesn't get along with my daughter Hannah, who is 11. She bullies her, calls her stupid and ugly, tells her none of her friends really like her, etc. She has made her cry on many occasions and often continues to taunt Hannah while she cries. You are the asshole for allowing this to happen to an 11-year-old. I don't care what kind of situation Amy came from. You basically brought a stranger into your home and are allowing bullying. On many occasions, this is intolerable. Hannah is your daughter and you are not protecting her. If you are going to invest in therapy for anyone, I suggest Hannah needs it. She probably feels abandoned by you since you are putting all your effort and attention to Amy. Not the asshole. If you're in the United States, you may want to look into whether you're entitled to foster care payments. It's not going to mean haute couture by any means, but a couple of $100 a month may ease the weight on your shoulders right now. Also, I second the therapy for the girl as being a priority. Not the asshole. Clearly Amy is going through a lot. It must be really tough to have both parents in prison. But that doesn't excuse her behavior. Your sister is absolutely the asshole and needs to get a reality check. Also, maybe if possible get Amy some counseling or something, who knows. Not the asshole. There is absolutely nothing wrong with how you're treating her in terms of what you're buying her. Make sure you keep yours and your husband's card plus cash safe though. I think you should try to sit her down when she's calmed down and have a talk with her. Tell her you get that she wants nice things, but you can't afford the things that her parents used to be able to. That you understand she's having a difficult time, you're there for her if she wants to talk, but she can't be lashing out on her cousin like that. There are also ways to buy very affordable designer things such as thrifting in stores, buying off-season, or buying second-hand online. There are plenty of YouTube videos on it and maybe you could send her one if you have the to buy her some new things occasionally. Not the asshole. Convicted criminals shouldn't be lecturing you on how to parent children and what you shouldn't be doing. This sounds like a toned-down, more believable version of the Mick. The fact your niece tried stealing from you to buy a dress shows that she's already picking up her parents' bad habits. You need to nip that in the bud before she too ends up in prison. Not the asshole. You are the asshole for putting your niece before your daughter. She has not been bullied once, not twice, but many times and at home where she should feel safe. Do you know if she's okay? Is she internalizing the things your niece said? If she is crying, then obviously she is not able to ignore them. Stop thinking about your niece for a while and talk to your daughter while you two are alone. She only has you and no one else. Your highest priority is to protect her. If taking care of your niece means long-lasting psychological damage to your daughter, then what you are doing is not right. Do everything you can do, be there for your daughter, and then your niece. Not the asshole, but quite a predicament. You have got a teenager with teenager brain, who is used to a certain lifestyle, acquired in a not legal way that she obviously knows about, with a good chance her parents taught her more questionable morals. You both need help, and not in a way your sister and her husband can provide. You both need professional help. She needs therapy, because she has the right to vent about you, but it needs to be put in perspective. A neutral third party can help with this, and you need help dealing with a troubled teenager. You are doing a great job, but please do not do this alone. Not the asshole. You're only human and this is a hard situation for you too. It might be worthwhile to look into counseling for her, plus have a talk to set boundaries and consequences. Not the asshole, but also slightly nah. I'm not going to say her actions are 100% justified, but she's going through a lot and she's only a teenager. I think she could really benefit from therapy. I'm not a doctor or anything though, but it could be worth checking it out. Obviously not the asshole, but you already knew this. I'm starting to think this sub's name might as well be changed to R, seeking validation. I might be an asshole here, but I would not tolerate any bullying. Period. Home is supposed to be a safe place, and it currently is not for your daughter. If I ever caught any whiff of this again, that kid would out of the house. Full stop. She would know she is on her last leg, and the rest of the family would know they need to be prepared to take her. Not the asshole. Your sister lost the right to parent when she went to prison. You are the best thing for your niece and you need to parent her your way, not theirs. You do what you feel is right for her. Yes, it sucks her parents went to prison, but she'll end up there with them if she doesn't learn consequences. Please contact your state representative and ask for resources and help for the child of 2 prisoners, and for you, as someone who doesn't have enough funds. There may be funds, even a monthly stipend as we have for foster kids. Call up the DA who put the parents away and ask for a social services representative. Not the asshole. And while it's wonderful and compassionate to help your niece like that, your priority is your own children. I will make a bold statement here, but at some point if Amy's behavior is putting your own kids at risk, you should put Amy in the system. A home or something. Taking care of her is the right thing to do, but hurting your own children would be a parenting failure. It doesn't sound like things are that bad yet, but be aware your younger children idolize their rich older cousin, and they are watching her behavior and learning from it, even now, with her outbursts and demanding behavior. Tough position for everyone. The real assholes here, of course, are Amy's parents. Not the asshole, and you have the patience of a saint. Op. If it was me and she kept stealing from me again, or bullying my kids, I would send the ungrateful brat away. Your first priority is your own children. It's not like she is a 3-year who doesn't understand. Plus, if the money that bought her all the fancy clothes was illegally acquired, even if her parents got out of jail, I doubt they could afford such luxury again. She needs to accept that she is not going to get the same lifestyle she used to, and if she wants something more than what you can afford, she has to work hard for it, like everyone else. You are the asshole because you know you're not the asshole. You even said you think what you're doing is right. You're just here for more praise. NTA. Dude. That kid is a virus, and to me, it's not worth my 11-year-old feeling worthless and potentially eventually suicidal. Fuck her sister or whatever. IDK man. This irritated me. At this rate Amy is going to be with her mom. Or let her. Enjoy. Foster home. Your children's well-being should be paramount. Why would you be because some bratty teen is throwing a fit over clothes? Or because your sister, who clearly is not good at making judgment calls, is pressuring you? No offense, but it is what it is. You are doing everything you can and are surrounded by ungrateful people who are used to having the world at their feet. That is not your fault. You have done a lot more than most people would. Protect your children first and foremost. Serious consequences only, no talking or third chances. 'Cause then you'll have 2 miserable teenagers under your roof and your child will become majorly depressed. I see that you're doing the best you can and I applaud you 'cause I couldn't do it. But don't put your children at risk because she can't handle not being rich. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Your sister and her husband maintained an expensive lifestyle through illegal means. Their whole lifestyle was a fraud, and they are literally doing time for that. Their kid stole your card and tried to follow in their footsteps. Going through a tough time does not excuse someone to bully either, and you really need to put your kids first. Amy needs to go to therapy for what she is going through. She needs help, and it will help her adjust to her new reality. How could you possibly be the asshole? You're doing all you can. Not the asshole. Obviously your niece got her shitty attitude from her parents' bloodline. I'd dump that entitled brat if she does anything like that to my child so she'd know where she currently is. Who TF does she think she is? She should be thankful enough someone took her in. I commend you for stepping up and caring for your niece. At the moment your niece is struggling with all that has come her way and the reality of her parents being in jail. I hope you are able to find a good therapist for her. You are right in not allowing bullying of your younger kids, and at the same time, your niece is the product of her upbringing and her parents' questionable choices. I hope you are able to get her some help before giving up on her. If possible, limit phone calls with her parents if they continue to harm rather than help your niece emotionally. Not the asshole op. Not the asshole, a shitty situation all around. IDK if Amy even knows just how awful her actions are. To her $1,000 or name calling could have been a normal thing in her parents' house. The best thing you could do is sit down with Amy to tell her why what she's done is wrong, and then take her to therapy. Not the asshole. This is obviously a rough time for her, but her behaving like this is just gonna make things rough for you down the line. There should be some consequences, but just be real with the kid. Maybe set up an allowance system so she can actually earn the things she wants to buy, and when she's 16 see if maybe she can get a good job. Just make sure that it mostly comes off as you trying to be fair and respectful, and that you just want her to be able to buy the things she wants and still feel responsible. Also see if you can look into some professional counseling. She's probably wrestling with some feelings that a professional would be better at sorting out. Not the asshole. It sounds like you're overwhelmed but trying to do right by everyone. It seems that she has failed to understand her situation. Her life before was a lie. Her life now is survival mode. Stealing lands people in jail. Bullying gets her a life as a ward of the state. Inmate mom does not get to dictate the terms of daughter's current situation. Therapy is non-negotiable at this point. Your own children are in danger now. The ways that this girl acts out will be contagious in ways that will surprise you. You also need to recognize that if she does not cooperate, you may not have the resources to help this girl. Both she and her mother need to understand that very well. Can she get a job so she understands the value of money? Assuming you are legally your niece's guardian foster mother, there are probably financial and social programs you and her may be eligible for. Not the asshole, in the sense that no, of course you're not able to send her to private school and buy her $1,000 dresses, and no, you don't have to tolerate her bullying your daughter or trying to steal from you. But, seriously, the kid is going through a big change. She's lost her parents, her friends, her home, and the way she's used to living. Establish your boundaries, enforce them. And then be sympathetic to a 15-year-old who's lost everything. Sympathetic doesn't mean let her get away with stuff. It just means understanding she's in pain and that 15-year-olds don't always have healthy ways of expressing their pain. I support the others who've said she needs to be in therapy. Not the asshole, and time to sit Amy down for a come to Jesus meeting. You need to tell her the financial facts. Her parents' former lifestyle no longer exists. Assets were seized. You are supporting her on your dime, at your standard of living. Her parents aren't contributing anything to her upkeep. You can do this in a nice, non-accusatory way. Bullying of your daughter won't be tolerated and there will be punishment for it. Character building, difficult for all, yada, yada. Through your sister's criminal actions, she has checked herself out of her daughter's raising for now, and you are doing it as best you can. Not the asshole, obviously. What I haven't seen is anyone commenting about the absurdity of the mother's request given that they are in jail and have had all their assets seized. Clearly they do not know the value of a dollar and haven't made their money in a kosher way, so to encourage frivolous spending on clothing seems completely utterly delusional, especially from prison. You're doing this girl a favor by teaching her financial boundaries and breaking unhealthy and potentially illegal habits instilled by her own parents. She may not see it that way, but it's a blessing in disguise. Emo. Not the asshole. I would do some research on ACEs, adverse childhood experiences. It can change how the brain functions and really cause a lot of hardship in a person. Your niece has been through a serious trauma. I think you both need therapy to cope with what's going on. Buying something without permission is theft. Send her to live with her real parents. Not the asshole, and you're very kind for taking her in. If my niece was bullying my daughter, I would be looking for another place for her to live. Any other family members who can accommodate her transition better? Maybe someone without children? My sister wanted to argue, but they get limited time on the prison phone. That line sums it up pretty good. Haha. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. I've never understood why people pay absurd amounts of money just because it's a name brand. Your niece needs to get over her entitlement. Maybe when she's old enough to get a job she'll understand just how much work needs to be done in order to afford that name brand. Not the asshole, but get her in the raw. Py. Her behavior is obviously learned and enabled by your criminal sister. Help your niece get straightened out while she has the chance. You shouldn't be allowing this child to bully your daughter. That's unacceptable. The damage this is doing to her esteem and self-image at a vulnerable time in her development is incalculable. Bullying at school can cause lifelong psychological issues, and she's getting this in her own home, which has suddenly been invaded by another kid. This isn't some trivial thing you can just brush aside. It's damaging her psychologically right now. Do not allow her to bully her ever again, even if that means basically forbidding this child from interacting with your daughter at all insofar as you're able.